sorry, I'm really thirsty. And instead of Coke, Sprite. So, had to switch it up. Yeah, we got green too. It's no sweatshirt. So, anyways, guys, the CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinals have finally approached us. Hold up a second. Before I get started, I'm gonna take this off. These are the worst, those are the worst bands to use in my entire life. Anyways, like I said, the CONCACAF Champions League quarterfinals have finally approached us. Now, yes, the round of 16, listen, I made a video about it. It was 40 minutes. It was well edited, but storage, man, storage, okay? I'll let Jason from the LAFC video explain it. It's short and sweet. Of the CONCACAF Champions League, I would do that, but my storage is probably the worst out of anything in this entire world. Now, originally the video was about 41 minutes long, pretty long, but pretty good edited. And then boom, I got hit with that, and then I deleted all those clips and restarted with just me talking straight for 7 minutes, and that was also 23 minutes, and also got hit with that the same. So at that point, I'm just like, okay, I just delete the whole thing. Let's just pretend that I'm some team that just straight up qualified for the quarterfinals, okay, and just skip the round of 16. Anyways, like I said, CONCACAF, it's come back, even with a new theme song. A new theme song that sounds like a royalty-free music session you would see at iMovie. Hey man, I like it though, it's pretty good. So, anyways folks, let's just get started with the quarterfinals of the CONCACAF Champions League, which we have NYCFC against Comunicaciones. In my opinion, was a pretty anticipated game, but realistically, Comunicaciones really shouldn't have been here. I don't want to sound rude, okay, but let's just be honest, the Rapids were just a better team. It's just, they made a lot of chances, but the finishing was probably the worst I would see in my life. Or Moscoso was just a prime version of Manuel Neuer. The Rapids, let's give a rest in peace to them. Oh well, I don't care. They're the Rapids. No one cares about them. Unless if you live in Colorado, it's just like 2 people. But hey, I got off task. Let's just enjoy this beautiful game of NYCFC against Comunicaciones. It was a beautiful game. I mean, a lot of people showed up. I thought a lot of people actually showed up until I looked at the other side of the stadium. Yeah, not a lot of people. It just reminded me like a high school game, like the other side where all the people is just like it's the home crowd, and then the other side's the away supporters. But hey, I'm surprised. I mean, there's thousands of miles that are just between Guatemala City and Connecticut. They play in Connecticut, by the way. But to see a lot of Guatemaltecos right there and Connecticut, first 20 minutes. I mean, NYCFC in the first half, to be honest. I mean, Tyler Magno, he had a chance in the 18th minute. He does just a little tap on the ball. Now, it is counted as a goal, but VAR looks at it. The referee looks at it at VAR, and he waves it off as offside. Totally agree with that. Tyler Magno, he didn't score, but that's all right, because in the 29th minute and just in the half an hour mark, Castellanos, he makes a diving header. I mean, he barely gets his head into that. He makes the header and he scores. As the first half ends, I mean, I feel like there should have been 3 goals, or 2 goals, I would say. I would say 2 goals realistically, but 3 goals, man, I'm just asking for it. Second half comes. The beginning of the second half, to be honest, was basically Comunicaciones. I mean, there were some NYCFC chances sprinkled in between, but it was mostly Comunicaciones. And during one of the chances, it's given a free corner kick. Comunicaciones takes it to the far left. Now, NYCFC, they done a goofy whoopie. I didn't mark my man. There was another Comunicaciones player. He kicks it. Now Sean Johnson does make the save, but it's a scramble to get the ball. He doesn't fully catch it. And Gambao, he gets the ball to score a famous goal in Comunicaciones club history. It would have been nice to top it off with the win, but unfortunately it didn't, because 5 minutes later, Maxi Morales scores a beautiful stunner. He does a volley. I mean, great pass from Castellanos. I mean, Castellanos was basically a scorer and then turned into a dummy. As saying he turned into a dummy, that's kind of bad. He just turned into like assist man, like a Lionel Messi from PSG. Okay. He gave the ball to Maxi Morales, and that allowed him to make a volley. Scoso, he was never going to save that. But anyways, a couple minutes later, in the 71st minute, a great ball from Castellanos. Like I said, he was PSG Lionel Messi. But he gives it to Santiago Rodriguez, and he puts it easily. Good on NYCFC. They made Castellanos as a distractor, and then that allowed Santiago Rodriguez to be all by himself in the 1v1 situation with Moscoso. Puts it easily. But like I said, though, Comunicaciones, bro. This was your game. Like, you scored, and then you just lose. But yeah, anyways, it ends just like that. 3-1. I mean, yeah. NYCFC, it looked a bit messy, but once that score from Comunicaciones was put in the back of the net, they just turned on, and you could see the bit of a remnants of their MLS Cup form kicking in, and they just, I mean, they destroyed. They just cutted the edges of that shaky Comunicaciones defense. I guess you could say they took it very personally.
This video was sponsored by Air Dior's. By just selling your 2018 Toyota Corolla, you can purchase these shoes with just the price of $18,000. And sponsored by ItzJason, coming soon to a Jordan store in 2032.
And you know what, guys? I think the next game might be a sign that it might be an all MLS semifinal in this side of the bracket, as Seattle Sounders hosted the Club Leon. Now, Club Leon, they did have some chances in the beginning, I don't know, like 15 minutes. The Sounders were kind of shaky during that time period. They made a lot of giveaways. All that changed in the 31st minutes as Christian Roldan, he's taken down by Angel Mena. Yeah, I'll agree with that. It's a penalty. Terrible challenge from Angel Mena. Angel Mena. I'm sorry. I'm drinking too much of this. But anyways, Angel Mena, he ended the happiness of the Sounders during the League's Cup. In this game, he began that happiness with the parade. Anyways, Freddie Montero, he takes the penalty as Rui Diaz wasn't in this game. He didn't play. He had a hamstring injury, I'm pretty sure, or a knee injury, I don't know. He puts it into the other side of Cota. Now, speaking of Cota, Cota played brilliantly. If it wasn't for Cota, this game probably would have been 10-0. The chances that the Sounders had was, they just outclassed Club Leon. I mean, I couldn't remember a time where Stephen Fry was in danger. I didn't hear much of his name other than a pass or just taking a goal kick. Club Leon, like, when they made their substitutions, that's when there was some bite. There was some teeth into that bite, but most of this game, it was basically just a bite without teeth. They were toothless. So, anyways, 39th minute, Christian Roldan, he gives a brilliant pass to Montero, and he makes a good finish. And let's fast forward. There was chances, like I said. Albert Rusnak, I mean, he should have scored in my opinion. He played amazing. It would have been amazing to see his first goal. But Cota, even with the traffic in front of him, with a lot of his defenders and the Sounders players, he still made the save. He still made the save even though he couldn't see the ball. We'll wait on Rusnak's first goal. I'm still waiting. I don't know. He's been in this new side for about like 4 games, and he looks so wow. Like, he fits into that system that Brian Smetcher has. But anyways, Jordan Morris, 90th minutes, he scores a goal from a great pass. I think it was Christian Roldan again. I mean, Christian Roldan, like the Motagua second leg, he was just all over the place. He was making just great assists, keeping his team, and João Paulo as well. There was a little fright, like he was holding his like calf, I would say. It was his leg somewhere. I think it was the calf, but he was holding his leg somewhere right there. A bit of an injury crisis it looked like, but he got up and he still continued. He played amazing, keeping his team into a clean sheets. I mean, like I said though, with the substitutions Club Leon made, it helped, but I mean the defense, Yamar, I mean Nuhu, they played amazing. So maybe if they can do that, they can win in Mexico. So yeah. So anyways, guys, that's it for day one of the quarterfinals. Pretty good for MLS, to be honest. I don't know, and I think, in my opinion, I can't say the same thing for the other side of the bracket. I mean, you have Pumas. They're an underrated team, in my opinion. I mean, just because they're in like 6th or 5th in the Liga MX, that they think New England is going to run them more. But New England kind of look in leagues play. They outclassed Saprissa in the round of 16. They were brilliant. So I don't know. It should be interesting. But I'm going with Pumas on that one. CF Montreal, they might not have spectators because of the terrible events that happened over the weekend on Saturday with Atlas and Cotero. It's terrible, but there might not be spectators. I would say that's a leg up, but the last time I said the MLS team would have a leg up was the Philadelphia Union, as they were going to go against Club America in August, and I would say that they're in mid-season form. They made some summer signings, and you know how that went. So I don't know. They almost did it with Santos Laguna, but this is Cruz Azul. This is a lot better team than Santos Laguna. So I don't know. I don't think these two MLS teams can do what the Sounders and NYCFC are doing. So it might be an all MLS side on one side of the semifinals and then all league on this. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I'm going to take the microphone and the camera to tomorrow, Jason. So anyways, Jason, I'm going to drink this. I'm going to get another one because my throat's already dry. So anyways, Jason, please take it away. Thank you, Jason. Now, before we talk about this, I just want to ask one question to you guys. Is this real life? Like, I actually mean it. Is this real life? Because for the first time, I actually believe that we will actually have an all MLS semifinals. That's a bit of a stretch, but I feel like an MLS team can actually win this year. I don't know. It's so crazy. I cannot believe this, especially when you see last year. I mean, last year, all MLS teams made it through the round of 16, only for just one of the teams make it to the semifinals, which is the Philadelphia Union. But this year, it's really different. Looks like the tides have turned. So anyways, guys, let's just get started with our first game, which was Pumas against the Revolution. Now, this game was basically the same story as the Sounders against Club Leon. The Revolution had so much chances. It's just they couldn't put it in the back of the net. But anyways, they strike first in the 19th minute from Sebastian Lletget. Yes, he scores again. I think he scored against the Portland Timbers. Pumas today was, I mean, they just lacked just the frightness. Like, they didn't scare anyone. They just were just a blank state. They didn't do anything. They kind of just defended terribly. I mean, the only good person I kind of thought was good was Talavera, but that was basically it. And I mean, after that, I mean, first half, that was basically it. The second half begins. It's the same old story until the 72nd minute, as Adam Buxa finally breaks through that defensive minded Pumas, and he does make the shot. Talavera, he does get a save into it, but it's rebounded into Buxa, and he puts it in the back of the net from a wide open shot. I mean, Talavera, you gotta feel bad for him. I mean, he's the one that's pulling his team, just keeping his team into the momentum, but they couldn't. And I mean, easy shots. And like I said, after that goal, it's the same old story. I feel like this game, just like the Sounders game, they could have had like 7 goals. Like, they had so much opportunities, but it was either luckiness from Pumas. I mean, Gustavo Ball, he scored. I think it was in the first half, but he scored, but it was called offside. He had a lot of chances. There was one chance where it hits the post. But finally, in the 2nd minute of stoppage time, Adam Buxa strikes again. He scores again, and you know what? Revolution, they're making the best out of him because, you know, there are European clubs chirping at him, and they're looking at him. So, make the best that they can with him. So, yeah. Anyways, the game is ended just like that, 3-0. Pumas, I mean, they're a brilliant team, especially what I thought in Saprissa. But this was just quite the opposite. They just were really poor. I mean, the attack, I couldn't even remember a time where the attack actually was frightening, because it really wasn't in this whole game. And finally, our next game was Cruz Azul against Montreal. Now, Montreal, terrible. Okay, terrible. They didn't really make any threats. But you know what? I'll respect them, because this was the Estadio Azteca. And, I mean, gone on those days when they tied it up against Club America in the final. But, hey, they're pretty good defensively. I mean, the goalkeeper as well, pretty good. But, unfortunately, in the 20th minute, Antuna, he scores in the 20th minute from an unlucky pass. I mean, Waterman's trying to get it, and then Montreal's trying to get it. Fortunately, hits the back of the defender, and it's given to Antuna. He has a wide shot, so he's in a 1v1 situation with the Montreal goalkeeper, puts it in the back of the net very easily, and they strike first. Cruz Azul, it's 1-0. Now, after this, Cruz Azul were just flying in the first half. They had so much chances, but they were just unlucky, and some of them went up wide. They went over the bar, it hits the bar, and Montreal were just poor in the first half, I would say. There was some bits of threats, I would say, but it was all just Cruz Azul in that first half. Second half, though, a little bit better with Montreal, especially in possession. But the problem with Montreal, they didn't have Romuald Kyoto because of yellow card accumulation. They just didn't lack the threats. The only threats that I actually felt from Montreal was just the transition and the possession. That was basically it. They didn't make a shot on target. They didn't make a shot on anywhere. They were just the definition of a toothless tiger. Okay, they were just roaming around, and they didn't. Meanwhile, on Cruz Azul's side, they had so much chances. I mean, this game should have been ended as 3-0, 2-0. But the luck was on Montreal's side. And you know what? It was on Azteca, and that seems reasonable, okay? You know what? You come out of Azteca with a 1-0 defeat in the game. And it's just like that. You know, I'm a happy man. I'm happy if I'm Montreal to just come out of the Azteca, because no MLS team is beaten Liga MX side in the Azteca. But hey, I'm happy if I'm Montreal. And this game could go anywhere in the second leg. I mean, they're going back to the CONCACAF Stadium, or otherwise known as the Olympic Stadium. I like to call it the CONCACAF Stadium because they literally play all their CONCACAF Champions League in the beginning first months of their games in that stadium instead of their usual stadium. I forgot what it's called, but it just put it up at ItzJason. So yeah, it could go either way. So if I'm Montreal, I'm happy. And you know what? And if I'm MLS, I'm happy too. There could be a comeback. I don't know if Montreal can do it. Maybe Cruz Azul has an outbreak in that game and they just score goals and just ruin the home crowd. So anyways, guys, I'm going to take the microphone and the camera to next week, Jason, as it's taken in Tuesday. and then goes through Thursday instead of Tuesday and Wednesday. A little bit better, but yeah. So, anyways, guys, he's gonna take the Comunicaciones against NYCFC game. So, please, Jason, next week, let us see on who is our first semifinalist of the CONCACAF Champions League.
But before we get into the second leg, let's just look at who is currently trailing and who is currently advancing. So as it stands right now, it would be the Sounders moving on to the semifinals after thumping Club Leon 3-0. And NYCFC, yes, they did concede a goal, but they do lead on the series with just a score of 3-1. So that would be them moving on to semifinals. And over to the other side of the brackets, Pumas would be going out as the New England Revolution thumped them 3-0 at Gillette Stadium. And Montreal Impact just trailed by a goal by Cruz Azul 1-0. So it would be Cruz Azul moving to the semifinals.
Thank you, Jason. Now, let's just get started with the beautiful game of NYCFC against Comunicaciones. Look at me dressed up so nicely. I got the cap, the whole hoodless hoodie, because this game was a blast. I mean, perfect way to kick off spring break. Bit of a weird spring break in my school district. I had spring break last week and then went back to school for about 2 days. Now I have spring break for about 6 days. It's a little weird, but I ain't complaining. So, anyways, let's just get started with this game. Like I said, good way to kick off spring break. Now, before this, NYCFC fly mode. I mean, you saw what they did against CF Montreal or Montreal Impact. They were just cruising. They annihilated them. Even showed their banner. The performance against the Impact was good, but the banner, though. The banner was the opposite of that. I mean, it felt like disrespectful. It felt so disrespectful to NYCFC. Yankees did NYCFC dirty, though. And you know what? If that's not another proof, another reason to tell you why NYCFC needs a soccer-specific stadium, then I don't know what other reasons you need, because that was embarrassing. And you know what? It almost makes me not want NYCFC to win the CONCACAF Champions League, because where would that banner be? It's just outside in sidewalk, just in the wall of the outer stadium walls. So yeah, you know what? NYCFC, you know what? I'm just kind of glad you almost went out. But anyways, like I said with the little teaser I gave out, NYCFC almost were out. And to be honest, in this game, they played pretty good for about 45 minutes, I would say. Castellanos was the first one to strike in the 31st minute from a free kick. I mean, terrible free kick, and Moscoso's got to do better. MLS would say golazo is good, but it's not really a golazo. It's just a pretty meh like free kick. It's not a David Beckham free kick. And Moscoso, I mean, he's got to do better. I mean, it was bouncing off the ground. It wasn't a Lionel Messi free kick. After this, the complexity changed, and Lescano Montero, he gets the ball from a terrible giveaway from Tyler Magno, and he is in a 1v1 situation with Sean Johnson. As I mean, the defense in that was kind of terrible. They didn't close down him. They didn't close him down. Just it was a 1v1 situation with Johnson, and Lescano, he thumps it in, puts it in the back of the nets. But Tyler Magno, he does redeem himself as later down in the 52nd minute, he scores a header. After this, in the 69th minute, I don't know. I just, something clicked with this NYCFC team. They just look so sloppy. And the giveaways they were doing, the terrible marking, I mean, they were literally holding on. And I mean, the terrible substitutions that NYCFC made, I mean, bringing on Tati Castellanos pretty early, I mean, it's just dumb. I mean, really, really poor from NYCFC. I mean, this is an NYCFC that were literally champions like 2 months ago, and we're literally just off of a brilliant performance against Montreal. And to see this, I mean, so Moya, he scores, and then after that, it is Mahia. He scores in the 72nd minute. And Sean Johnson does save the goal from Samoa, but he only gets a hand into it, and it's bounced to Samoa, and he puts it in the back of the net. 89th minute. I mean, it just looked like NYCFC were just in despair. Contreras, he scores a thunderous goal, and I mean, Sean Johnson, I mean, like, he was just bored. Like, the way he dealt with that goal was absolutely terrible. It looked like how I would perform. I mean, he didn't move at all. He was basically a stone man, just standing there, didn't do anything. And I mean, I don't put all of the blame on him as well. I put the blame on the defense, leaving all that space for Comunicaciones to work with, and that allowed what's his name again? Leaving him with all that space and make a little kindergarten goal. I would make a goal like that when I was in kindergarten. Just put all that power into it. I mean, it's not even a good goal. It's not like a Jacob Golesnes type of goal. It's rolls to the ground. It's pretty terrible. It's just poor performance from NYCFC. And after looking at this can probably change the complexity of how I see MLS doing in the road games for the Revolution, for the Sounders, and especially for the Revolution. I don't know. When I saw NYCFC, they just looked terrible. And in my mind, I'm just like, Revolution gonna be like this tomorrow. Pumas were brilliant against Surpresa at home in the round 16. They can probably do it. They can probably score 3 goals before the 45 minutes of the first half is ended. I guarantee you. I hope not, because that'd be an utter embarrassment. But yeah, I don't know. This just changes of how I see. It's like the results were just propaganda for me to fall for, and now reality has come. But hopefully this game can show the other MLS teams that are in the road this week to show what works and not doesn't work, and what doesn't work. Okay, some of the things that NYCFC did today, especially in the 45 minutes, they worked. Others, terrible, very poor. Let's not hope the Sounders and the Revolution do that. So anyways, that's about it. I tried saying all I can, but I mean, this is not a Ryan Anderson video, so go watch this video. Pretty good video. Lots of swearing, lots of good terrible accent Spanish.
4-2 esta noche.
By the way, it's 4-2. Okay, it's not 4-2. Like, I hate when people are like that. But anyways, that's gonna be it for me. So hopefully you guys enjoy the beautiful game of NYCFC. I'm gonna pass the microphone and camera to Tomorrow Jason as he gets 2 games. That's a pretty double the hype, you know. It's gonna be Montreal against Cruz Azul. Pretty interesting game. We'll have to see what happens right there. It could go either way, to be honest. Pumas against Revolution. I don't know. After seeing this, I think I might stick to Pumas making it through, to be honest. I don't know. They were just so amazing in that Estadio Olímpico Universitario in the second leg. And this one might be a repeat. I don't know. Revolution, you got to do better. But maybe when that loss against RSL, maybe that could be a wake-up call for them. So, yeah. Anyways, like I said, I'm going to hit the camera to Tomorrow Jason. So, take it away, Jason. Thank you, Jason. Wow. Wow, oh wow. It's crazy to believe that in less than 36 hours, I would say, we went from saying that all MLS teams in this fixtures will move on to the semifinals. And now, well, spoiler alert, it's going to be a Liga MX team into the finals this year once again. Wow, it's just, I don't know. I had that feeling, to be honest. Like, I was believing that, but then once I saw the NYCFC game, it changed the complexity of how this went. Like I said, whole ideology just felt like a propaganda. I felt for it. Maybe not saying a propaganda because it's a little controversial, but anyways, that's beside the point. Let's just get into the games, because the last video I went on like a 12-hour lecture about NYCFC. This one, I can't, okay? The video is already getting too long. So anyways, let's just get started with Cruz Azul against Montreal. Now, anyways, Montreal doing what they do when they're in the Olympic Stadium. They did a lot of chances, but I think the problem is with them is that the defensive midfields, and I would go as far as to say the center backs for Cruz Azul, they isolated some of these CF Montreal players. And I think, in my opinion, the problem with CF Montreal is that they rely so much, and I think too much heavily, on Kyoto. When Kyoto is creating chances, there's no one there to finish it, because CF Montreal, they rely so much on Kyoto that they've made him their main finisher. That's why Mihajlovic makes a lot of chances, so then Kyoto can put them into the back of the net. And speaking of Mihajlovic, I didn't hear much of him. I mean, props to Cruz Azul's defense, to be honest, shutting down some of the connections from CF Montreal. And to be honest, it was only a set-piece goal from the 79th minute from Camacho to score, and it looked like a miscommunication as well from Cruz Azul. Bit of a funny goal, I would say, but I also hated CF Montreal for what they did. Cruz Azul helping Kai Kamara get up, and that allowed Camacho to make the header, and just they didn't mark him. They were just too busy on something else, and that got them off guard. But that goal unfortunately wasn't enough for them, as that goal would have went to penalties had it not been Antuna, as he scored again in the 44th minute. A beautiful kick, beautiful goal, beautiful volley. I mean, I gotta give him big props in. I mean, the cross as well. I mean, it's just terrible. I mean, Alistair Johnson, I mean, he played in Nashville. He was amazing last year, especially with that defensive work, being a key player with Walker Zimmerman as well. But this one, they didn't mark him. He tried heading the ball away, but a little misinformation right there, and it goes the back of him, and that allows Antuna to score. Hey man, Antuna, props to him though. If only he did that in Manchester City though. I wonder what happened after that contract. Oh wait, I'm just kidding. Besides that though, that was basically it. Cruz Azul, they move on with the 2-1 win on aggregates. Would have went on penalties had it not been that goal, but I don't know. I'm still pretty lenient on Cruz Azul, still moving on. I don't know. Montreal just, they looked like the same old problems from Leg 1. They just didn't make that much chances, and when they did, I mean, they just got quickly headed away or kicked away, because the defense was just pretty top notch for Cruz Azul. So gotta give props to Cruz Azul. So yeah, it would be Cruz Azul moving on. Montreal, rest in peace. But to be honest, you were probably the weakest side out of the other 4 MLS teams. But you know what? You might be the weakest one, but at least you weren't the dumbest one, as we'll get to with New England Revolution. Sorry, I had to use the other camera. But Revolution against Pumas. Now, this game, if PSG was an MLS team, it would probably be the Revolution. Not like because of the spending, but how they just perform. I mean, we'll get there. We'll get into that side. Okay, we'll get that reaction side. But let's just get started with the game. Now, Revolution, they were pretty much sitting back, and okay, we're gonna get there. But they were sitting back. Gustavo Bo, he had a pretty good chance in the early minutes of the first half. Adam Buksa as well, he missed a pretty wide shot. But once it's the 33rd minute, Dinero, he scores again to maybe try to scare off Castellanos. But anyways, he ties Castellanos' Golden Boot record. But he'll also take the lead as he scores again in the 49th minute. I mean, the Revolution, they're panicking right now, but hey, they're still up a goal, but unfortunately in the 59th minutes, Saucedo, he scores to level it. And I mean, it took about a whole 94 minutes to say for them to score 4 goals at Gillette, and for Pumas in this game, it took them about less than an hour. I mean, just let that sink in, Revolution. Just, yeah, it's just embarrassing, to be honest. Like, you're to the point where just, like, the Revolution should just pay their fans to support them, because this game was just, I mean, as embarrassing. Like, I'm saying it was embarrassing, it's an understatement. Like, it really is, okay? But, like I said, we're gonna get there. The penalties, it goes to penalties because both of them scored. No one got the away goal. So it goes to penalties. Talavera being like Emiliano Martinez, being like the marionette from like Fortnite or something. He tried getting into their heads. That paid off. Sebastian Lletget goes over the bar. Magnamon shots was also saying Pumas, they come back from behind. I mean, it's a monumental collapse from the Revolution. And Pumas, they win 4-3 on penalties. Why? No more Mr. Nice guy, Mr. Jason right here, alright? This game was an absolute monumental embarrassment for the league, for the team, everyone. I don't think Adam Busa was subbed off, but he should have been subbed off. I mean, Gustavo Bo, he was pretty quiet, but at the same time, I mean, you need someone to score going into it, but they didn't focus on the game. That's what they lacked today. They just didn't focus. And once all of a sudden Pumas slaps them in the face, they're unfocused. They're scrambling to look for answers, and I think that's another problem, is that they didn't have any key players that were into this environment, except for Josie Altidore, but he only came like the last 20 minutes, I would say. But that was basically it. These guys have never been in a CONCACAF Champions League, and they were scrambling. They were looking for answers. And I mean, once the penalty kicks came, like I said, it was already over because they were tired in the last 20 minutes. I mean, they kept on pressing forward and then scrambling to find a goal because they just needed one goal. Because if they scored one away goal, then Pumas would need 5 goals because they didn't score any away goals in Gillette Stadium. It's just embarrassing from the Revolution. Like I said, they're the PSG of this league. I mean, for them, they played like this challenge called the Try Not to Win challenge. MLS playoffs last season. Okay, let's just try not to win on our first game. This game, I mean, yeah, they didn't even play Calvary. That just came in my mind. Okay, Pumas game. Well, let's just bottle a 3-goal lead in less than an hour. It's just embarrassing. They just were so delusional. They were just focused on the next game. They were focused against Cruz Azul, and they didn't have a single mindset on this game. And you know what? My biggest respect goes to Pumas. They never gave up. They kept on the momentum. There was a huge mountain, Mount Everest 2.0 right here, and they climbed it. They kept on going. They went through the mountainous terrain. They went through the snowy desert of Mount Everest. They kept going. They made it. They went on top. I mean, Talavera tonight, didn't really hear much of his name, but he made some good saves. I mean, he saved a key moment in the last play for New England and like the second minute of stoppage time for the 90th minute. That was basically it. I mean, Talavera, I mean, he was also chirping over there, just making some mind games. I mean, it was a good time for Pumas. I mean, the Revolution couldn't be said. I mean, they just lacked on, when Pumas would make a cross, they just failed. Like I said, I mean, the complexity changed when NYCFC just almost were gone from against Comunicaciones. I told you, I had that feeling. And with that excellent manager that Pumas have, and with Dinero, their defense, Diogo, I mean, yeah, it was inevitable for them to just come back from behind, to be honest. But like I said, this video is getting too long. Like if I had like a Ryan Anderson type of video, this video would probably be like a 10-hour video of analysis. So that's gonna be it. I mean, the Sounders, I don't even know what to say. If they even fall, if they fall and they just concede 3 goals, I don't even know, bro. I don't even want to think about that. That's just embarrassing. And it's been 2 hours and I haven't even seen a single post about the results from MLS's Insta account. And that's great because, you know, that's just absolutely embarrassing. And the amount of comments that are going to go after them. Yeah, I mean, when Liga MX shows the results, at least they show their losses, MLS. Where are you? Non-existent? Well, great. You got what you deserve now. So I'm gonna head the microphone and camera to Tomorrow Jason as he finally gets the last game of the quarterfinal. Anyways, take it away, Tomorrow Jason.
Muchas gracias, Jason, para los noticias. And let's just get started with the game. Our last game of the quarterfinals. Fair warning, it was pretty boring, which means it's gonna be a shorter analysis, which means the video can end sooner. So let's go. Anyways, let's just get started. Pretty boring game. No one really scored, and most of this game was basically just Club Leon just pressing forward and making a lot of chances. But unfortunately, they're finishing kind of bad, but also not. I mean, this was at the Estadio Leon, and when a team from Mexico is playing in Mexico, like I said, their pace is like 99, their agility, their strength is 99. I mean, they're just Barcelona 2009, let's be honest. It went okay. Basically, right on the 45th minutes, I think it was on stoppage time. Yeah, stoppage time came. The last seconds of it came, and Montero, he gets a penalty rewarded after, I mean, a clumsy challenge from Club Leon. I mean, yes, they kept on pressing, but there was still Sounders little chances sprinkled in. But anyways, Montero puts it in. I mean, nice penalty, puts it on the top corner. No way Cota was gonna save it. And I mean, at least they did this on like the Revolution. So good job. So anyways, it would have to take a monumental goal for Club Leon to come back. They would have to score 5. Unfortunately, they only scored 1, which was the 91st minutes from Ambris. Good header, but I mean, I would say it's a terrible marking, but I mean, at that point, I don't think the Sounders care. They're literally qualified now, so unless if they just spill 2 goals in like every 15 seconds. But so thank you, Sounders, for not making another scientific revolution, a 3rd scientific revolution, to the point where we just question ourselves on everything. What? So, thank you. Anyways, it will be another Liga MX versus MLS final. One side of the bracket is an all MLS side, other is an all Liga MX side. Now, I mean, we still got time. I mean, the analysis was like less than a minute. Now, to put it in perspective, Sounders move on, Pumas move on. Maybe Cruz Azul. I don't know. Cruz Azul? Maybe? I don't know. Sure. Okay, we'll go with Cruz Azul. Everyone's saying Cruz Azul, but I don't know. I'm leaning more on Pumas, to be honest. So I'm gonna kind of stay in Pumas, but I'm gonna stay in the middle, but also say Cruz Azul. But if I had to pick one, I guess it'd be Cruz Azul. I guess so. But if Pumas move on, I'm not even surprised. Brilliant team, like I said. And Sounders, I mean, NYCFC, I don't know. I just don't know.
when I saw that substitution mess and that whole monstrosity of a game against Comunicaciones, I just don't know. So anyways, guys, it's going to be the Sounders against Cruz Azul. Who will win? You know what? I'm going with Sounders. Sounders winning it. I don't know. They're a brilliant team. They're going to have Rui Diaz back by the time that happens, unless if the injuries are really bad. I mean, I don't know. I see the Sounders. So, Sounders are going to be the winner for this edition. They're going to be the first MLS team to win this. It should be interesting. They just need to handle the away match, and if they do that, they got that. All right. So, anyways, guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. It really appreciates it, watching 42 minutes of me talking. So, anyways, guys, this is gonna be it. Please like and subscribe. See you guys next time.